So it's been nearly 2 weeks since the last update, so I'm just going to mash week 7 and week 8 into one video. That's one video, because not that much got done this week, week 8. I burnt out between the pressure of creating something tangible in regards to level design, in spite of the 100+ hours that went into just setting up the player mechanics and the player controller and the GFX, and the sleepless nights and stress. We were nearing a Chernobyl style meltdown, so I took a few days off in week 8. But not to worry, I am technically, if we cut our dialogue, which I'm doing by the way, I'm technically on track. In week 7 I finished up phase 1 of production, which was characterized by the production of a lovely playable prototype build with all the fundamental player mechanics, the henchman AI behavior, and dynamics of explosive barrels, and the gates all set up in the first level of the game. About 3/4 of the UI is all set up now and working. It's working, including the main menu, the loading screen, the death screen, and the HUD, coinciding with the now functional health and stamina system I integrated into the pre-existing package for the third-person controller. As mentioned in the last video, I got the light gate style barriers now working. The player needs to find the corresponding console for the gate and shoot it to open new areas, with plans to add dynamic, when I say dynamic I mean realistic looking wires to lead the player to said consoles. Workload wise, this meant creating a model for the gate's brackets, fixing what was a properly janky console model, and making a script that uses the package's health manager to take damage on the console, which in turn destroys the barrier and creates a neat little particle system, which is from a Unity VFX package, but I did the appropriate tweaking to make it fit. Level design wise, I'm mostly using characteristics of brutalist and modernist architecture, characterized by the complexity through verticality and repetition, and symmetrical layouts just to make the environment feel more intuitive to navigate. I will make note of the fact that the top layer of the first level feels redundant, notably similar to the problem that Totem identifies in an architectural approach to level design, where this navigation between an area made for single mechanics feels tiresome. So in the revised design, I'm probably going to remove that altogether. It also blocks line of sight to the main piece at the end of the level. And this week, in week 8, with dwindling energy, I got some fairly straightforward AI work done. This included finding, importing, and setting up the models for the target and his weapon, which also needed texturing because apparently Unity HDRP likes to make life difficult. After this, I added the AI behavior to the target and did some balancing for enemy damage and the perception ranges for the AI. Alongside this, I refined the enemy's aim. They were aiming all over the place and they could never hit the player, and it also didn't look like they were aiming at the player, so I fixed that for both the target and the henchman. Finally, I got some basic sketching for the second level design done, including some proximity diagrams of the new types of spaces given the rescoped mechanics for the game, and some actual layouts from this. And that's been the last 2 weeks. It's not ideal that I had to take a break, but things were looking pretty grim, so it was a necessary evil. In the coming week, I'm going to be focusing on designing and creating that second level for the game, at the end of which I'm going to start heuristics testing to refine the layout, and whilst I'm at it, I'll fix the first level as well. So that's all. I'll see you then.